Hello everybody. Now is the time to deploy our API to our server. For that, we actually need to create that server in order where to be deployed. Now, I know there is other solution like Heroku possible, or maybe Netlify where you can actually put the kind of software over there. But I want to give you the experience how to do it in a real server and what type of information you need to create and have it there. So let's get started. The good thing about this is that you compile all the information that you need in this file. It's going to be available through the video description, so you can actually access to that. So first we need to create a backend server. You can create whatever you want. I recommend to use DigitalOcean, and the class we actually already using DigitalOcean, but we are going to spin up a new server, and let's spin up the cheapest one there, and let's install all that we need. So right now I already have the DigitalOcean open, as you can see here. If you don't have the DigitalOcean, you can actually select this link, and you will go here and actually do everything you need to that. So now we have our front-end server, and we have our DNS configured through the DigitalOcean. What I want to do now, I want to create a new droplet. That droplet is going to be Ubuntu 20 basic. We're going to select the $5 one. We don't need anything else. We don't need premium Intel either. Like, let's keep the regular one. And let's keep on the same data center where we are. So I don't remember where data center we are. Let me just get back to see my current server. I have New York 3. So let's actually keep the same data center just because we can, right? Well, in reality, it doesn't matter. You can select any place that you want there. So in my case, I will select Ubuntu 20 basic, $5 a month. I'm having everything in 3, so let me put the 3. I will select my monitoring, should be there. I will create a password, and I'll put my password right here. Okay. Let's call, it's going to be one droplet. Let's call it, in my case, I want to call it API dot. It's going to be the main DNS that is going to be pointing here. And I will put the DNS that I have configured. So in my case, it's going to be rodolfo.syc. You can put whatever you want and change those instead of www or anything. You can put API. Let's make that as the main DNS entry. I don't need to keep any traveler. It doesn't allow me to. It doesn't allow me. Why it doesn't allow me? Probably because this is not as strong as it's supposed to be. Okay. You need a really strong password, so this actually should work. And let's create it. This will take a couple of minutes. Just to be there. I will keep the live session, the live video. Then you will see that my server is just get deployed. Perfect. Now the server is there. Before I proceed to go to my server, I will go to my DNS and I will select API pointing to that server. And let me redo this to be 30. And I will create another one, Node.js is going to be pointing there too. Why I'm putting to? Because API is going to be the main DNS entry to go to the server, and then we will be deploying several labs. Every app will have his own host name. So in this case, we are going to deploy the application under this and hostname. Both of them are just connected to anyone. Now by now, let's hope that the server is already up. So let me do a simple root at api.roman.syc. We say yes, and let's put a password. I forgot my password. Okay, this would be a really good scenario to how to reset your password. So let me get back to my server. Let me open my API server because I just don't remember my password. Let me click it. And let me go to access. Reset root password. That password will be mailed to me in a few minutes, and we just need to open it. So meanwhile that's being generated, let me see my email. I don't have it yet, but for now, let's continue looking at the document. So after we create a server, the next step is going to be updating. After we update our thing, we need to add an extra user that is not going to be root, and that user where we're going to pretty much install everything that we have here, and we need to remove root to be able to log in through SSH. That's for security reasons, pretty much, but that's what we need to do here. We will change the SSH configuration to make it a little more secure, and we'll restart the server. After that, we're going to install our firewall to protect the server for anything that is not supposed to be allowed to connect. And we're going to install Nginx. Nginx will be the front-end server, or not the front-end, will be the proxy server that will call our Node application. Our Node application will be running locally in a port, but that port it should not be available to the outside. It's like an extra layer of protection. So for that we will install npm and we'll install Node with this. We're going to install pm2. pm2 is like a server for Node application. So we will open that, and after that we just clone the app, we install everything, we execute the app to be running on the background, and then we change our Nginx configuration. So at the end, after everything is done, we're going to do the server implementation. That's pretty much what it is. Okay. So for now, I just received an email, and let me see if I can actually share that with you. Yeah, it doesn't matter that you saw that password because it's going to change. So you will receive some kind of email like this, right? And they give you like a new complicated extra password. So let me copy that. So I will go SSH to my server. I paste that. You can paste it like a right click, sometimes that works. And that's allow you now to go to the server. But now I can just create a new one again. And I put my real password now. Let's try it. Oops, I forget that. So I need to paste it. So let's do it again. So I need to paste it again here. I need to paste it. Now I create a new password. Sorry for that. Now we have access to API server. Pretty neat. So what we thought here that we need to be doing, and let me close this. And I believe we can close this too. We don't need it anymore. So what we need to be doing here, we just need to update everything to make sure that it's up to date. We need to upgrade all the dependencies. And we leave it running. So I will stop the video right now, and when I finish, I will get back. Okay, the installation is moving. As you can see, I received this message. What I want to use is for the SSH, I will keep the local version installed. Just click enter, and I will let this continue. It's asked me something else. Keep the current installed version, so we just click enter, and we wait that to finish. It's almost done. In my case, to be here, it took me around 5 minutes. It didn't take that long. So meanwhile that is to finishing, let's move to here, and we need to remove the user with this command. Sorry for that. So just copy. I will wait for the upgrade to finish. Any minute now. Okay, so I will paste the auto remove. Then after that we need to reboot the server with a quick reboot. That will just pretty much reboot the server by itself, and we can try going in, trying to go to the SSH connection. Of course, remember, if you're in a Windows computer, you will use PuTTY, right? So now, if a password is prompted, that means that the server is already up. So I will type my new password, and now I can see the server is up, and nothing needs to be installed because it's up to date. Perfect. Next step, and probably I need to send this to there. Let me just move it from here, and let me put it back. Right, and I put this one to the left. So the next step will be adding the user. So the way to use it is with the add user, and the name of the user that you want to add. You will specify the password, so specify a password for that particular user. Remember, try not to use the same password as root, try to keep passwords separate, right? I will not type anything from here, I will say that everything is correct. And the new user is there. Now user mode. So I'll add to the studio group, to that particular user that we just created. In my case, I just call it ROManBE. There you go. And we need to test the connection. So to test the connection, we go to out, and we make another connection with ROManBE. A password is prompted, and if you're able to go in, that means that it works. So now let's change the SSH configuration, and we can do that with root. So let me just get back as root. And you can use actually VI or anything that you want. In my case, I will use nano. It's going to be a little bit simpler and simpler to guide you guys how to do it. So they will open the SSH configuration, and we need to look for the permit root login, and we change this to no. Or well, actually, we don't comment it out. We just change this to no. We look for permit empty password. We say no. That's for protect our SSH connect a little bit. And that's it for now. We use the Control X, Y to save, enter, and that's it. Now we need just to restart the server, SSH server. So if we go back, exit, and we try to go in, we will not be allowed to go as root, and that's fine. Permission denied. Perfect. So that means that we need to go as our Roman BI. In my case, or any user that you created. So after we have that, we verify the status of the firewall. The firewall is not there, so we can install it with this command. You put your admin password, there you go. And then we allow the SSH connection. We allow the port 80 for HTTP, and we allow the ports 443 for HTTPS. After we have that, we enable the firewall. You say that could disrupt something? Yes, but that's why we allow array SSH connections. So we say yes, firewall is active, and we can now see the status. And those are the ports that we are allowing it, the rest is blocked. Perfect. Next step is to install Nginx. And we keep Nginx starting from the beginning with this command. We put a password, and that's it. That in theory should we go to API for command SYC. I see my Nginx for it. That means that the server is up and running and is working the way that it's supposed to. Okay. Now we need to install Node. Let's use this command, all from core to bash. This will be your Node version manager. Here, what I want to do is going to cat we need to see the bash rc file, so let's do a cat to that file. And if we see the nvm at the end, we are fine. So after we have that, we can just run nvm install node to install Node.js to the server. If it doesn't work like this, the fastest way will be click source.bash rc. It's like restart the file, or you can get out from server and get in, that should work too. We use nvm install node, and now we allow you to install Node.js to the server. So nvm node-v is there, npm-v. Just in case, let's install globally npm to update it. And we do npm-v. Yeah, we keep the same version, so we're fine with that. So now we're going to use PM2. PM2 is going to be a daemon process manager that will help us to handle our Node.js app. So with the Node.js app, remember in development environment, we actually use NodeMon. NodeMon is the server that will restart any change and try to do that. NodeMon is not a production ready, or it's not a production product. It's just for development purposes. So we need to have something more robust to do that for us on production, and that will be PM2. The way to install it is really easy. We just with this command. And that's it. After we have that installed, and I will create in my home directory, and I can see I'm in home directory with pwd. I will create an application folder, and this apps folder I need to clone my repo. So let me go back to GitHub, RMB, Nodes API. I will click here to copy this, and I will do a simple git clone our application. Then we go to that particular folder that we just created. An application is there. We do npm install to install all the dependencies for this app. And we wait a minute for that. npm I is pretty much the same as npm install. Now something extra is because we use env file, we need to create that one. Remember that the env is not in our GitHub server. That way it's not in our it's not either in our server here. So we need to create the env file. The good thing is we created an example one. So we can just copy after everything is installed. We can copy the env example as env. And we can just open that env file here. And now we can actually move to this. So this is going to be production. Title is going to be Nodes API server port, let's keep 3000. Morgan log, let's keep this development purposes, just to keep it like that. Origin is where the call is going to be coming from, and that will be another video, probably next week. But for now, the application that will use or cross origin will be our Nodes app. I will recreate that application Nodes app. So in my case, it will be called nodes.rodolforoman.syc, and that will be in the frontend server. So let's keep it like that. Database type, SQLite 3. File name, let's call it database.sqlite. And API username, we can have like any complex username here. I will go basic again, just with hello there. Probably not the best one to create right now. And I will change this later, right? But for now, I will keep it as it is. And just do Ctrl X. Y, that's yes. Enter to save it. So after I got that, we need to build our server. Remember that we'll compile our application and that will create a distribution for a build folder, right? Remember we didn't have that build folder before. So now here is our compiled server. Now that we have compiled it, we need to add PM2 to add it. If we do PM2 monet, we don't have any process running here. Let me get out. Let me do PM2 ls, and we say that we don't have any API running. That's fine. The way to start is something like this, and we can see several products. So what I want to do now, I want to create a PM2 start, and we're going to execute the npm command. Remember we have a npm start. Let's create a name, and we put that name in double quotes. Let's call it Nodes API, and dash space start. And that will run our application in port 3000. If we do PM2 ls, if we can restart it, that means that we have an issue here. So let's see what is actually happening. So the PM2 logs, let's see what is happening. There's a module that is not find it. Something is not working the way it's supposed to. Well, let's look at the package.json file. Oh, I have an issue here. Look at this. My start, and this actually came from here too. Our package.json, instead of execute the index.js, and we are trying to execute index/js. So this is an issue, we need to correct it. The best way to correct it is locally. So we need to open a new shell. We need to go to the project where you have the server. So in my case, it's going to be server node, I believe. Yes, it is server node. Oops. I will open my code. I will go to my package.json. I have an issue here. And I will change this for a dot. That way, whenever we debuild it, we'll create the build directory, and that index, it needs to be moved right there. So let me change this, right? I will, now let me push it. So I will add it. Typo on the start script. And I will push it with this little command. That will send the code to Node.js, to GitHub. Perfect. And now let me close this Windows. Let me back to the server. Because I'm already here, I can do a simple git pull, and we'll get the new file from GitHub. So whenever it's already cloned and I'm already inside, a simple git pull will get the new information. As you can see, the package.json just changed. So let me verify that, and we can see that, where is it? Yes, index.js. Perfect. So just in case, let me do npm install everything, just to verify that we have what we need, and pm2 ls, and we can do pm2 restart nodes API. Start online. Okay, let's do an ls. This is still complaining. Now let's see what is happening. pm2 logs. Yeah, we have an issue here. Reference generator runtime is not defined. Interesting. So we have an issue with the compilation. Let me just, what can I do? pm2 ls, pm2 stop nodes API. Oops. Okay, now if I stop it, and let's see what kind of issue we have. So let's try to do npm run start. And we have an issue here. So let me look for that issue and see what need to be changed in our code. Okay, it looks like we have an issue with our production code. So let's find out what it is. I was looking at this, and it feels like we need to add an extra plugin to the Bubble RC. And let's see if this actually works. So let me just open a local shell, right? This is running in my computer now. So I will go to projects, server node. Let me execute this. Let me open Visual Studio Code. And it's telling me that go to my Bubble RC. Where is it? Bubble RC. And I need to add a new plugin. We'll do a comma and press it, add that there, and should be looking something like this. But we had the preset and we had the plugin now. Okay. So let's do npm run build, npm run start, and application starter. Cool. So it looks like that's actually fixed the issue. So what we need to do now, again, I will commit everything, added missing plugin, and I will change the text how my gist to add the plugin transform runtime there. Okay, and let me push it. So let me just close my console. I'm inside my server again. So you need to do npm pull to get, git pull to get the new changes. Now I will your local change to the forward file package log.json. Interesting. I didn't change that. npm fetch. Let me see if that actually works. No. npm git fetch. I'm sorry. Okay. So let me do npm install. Everything got installed. npm run build now. And now we can use npm run start. And we still have an issue with render downtime. Let me do a cat to my package JSON. My dev dependencies. Oh, plugin transform is not there. So it didn't work. So let me do the git pull again. So with something like this, that package log JSON changes, you can do git pull --force. Didn't like it. If I remove my package log JSON and let me remove my build folder, let me just do a cleanup and let me remove my node modules. Let's do a git pull again. Okay, everything came. My package, new package JSON is here. Now I can do npm install. I will do npm run build, npm run start. Oops. And it should be npm, not boom. I don't know why to put boom in there. npm run start and application starter. Cool. If application starter, we can do pm2 ls now, and now we can restart this again. So let's do pm2 restart or start, because it stopped actually, or nodes API. Let's do npm2 log, and we can see the application just started in the port 3000, and we don't have any more errors. That means it took us a little bit longer, but our Node.js app is running on the server, and if there is an issue, it will restart automatically. Let's do pm2 ls, 79 restarts, pm2 ls again, 79 restarts. The database SQLite file is still there, so we know that the app should be working the way it's supposed to. Cool. So before we proceed, let me just go to my, well, no, I will do this later. So this fix is going to be in the gist command, where we do the npm, and it will be already there, so for the future reference. So for now, sorry for this guy. Technology changes over time, and we need to just be up to date. So everything that needs to be there. So the plugin transform runtime is going to be needed. Add as a plugin to Bubble in order to make the application work with the newest JavaScript, the way that we're actually using it. Okay, so now that we have the server running, we can actually not hit the server, because the servers, as you can remember, pm2 logs, pm2 logs, the server is running in port 3000, right? And the port 3000 is not allowed in the firewall. So that's where Nginx will be coming in order to help us do that. So let me get out from that. And let's proceed after running the app. Oh, we need to do PM to startup. Sorry, PM to startup. This is what we're going to do. If we create initial system, so if we have an issue with our server, and the server gets restarted, that means when it goes restarted, the application will start again. That way, we don't need to go back to the server and start the application manually. So that's actually helps us a lot. And when we PM to save, we're pretty much saving the current list of process and the way how those need to be running. And with that, we are pretty cool. So if the server gets rebooted, we know that Nginx is going to be started by default, and we know that the Node server is going to be started by default, and application will be up and running as soon as possible. So now we need to add a configuration file in Nginx in order to handle the new submodule. So remember that API, and we can actually use it here, API.Rodolfo Roman is pointed to the server. For this particular app, I want to use Nodes-API. Right now, if I use Nodes-API, it goes to the server because we added to DigitalOcean. So now we need to make Primos here to make it look as a proxy to port 3000. So we just do a sudo nano, we need to have that permission, and we're going to create a file, and let's call this Nodes.API configuration. We'll put a password there, and we just need to copy and paste this. We need to change the server name to be the URL that you wanted, and the location depending where it is. In this case, because it's the first app, we selected port 3000, so we should be fine. So we do Ctrl X, J to save, enter. That will save that configuration file. It will sudo nginx -test is to test the nginx configuration. If we don't have syntax error, we can see this, so we can actually do nginx -s reload, and actually need to be good sudo because okay. So that will allow us to the Nodes API to get the Nodes API server running. And if we go to APIs alone, this is still going to the Nginx. So now we have two different URLs pointing to the same server, serving different places. The default one is ported to this Nginx file, and the Nodes one is actually going to the API. So now we have the API successfully deployed and available to the world. One last thing that we need to do, we'll actually go to API Nodes here. We should have an error, bad request, right? Because we need to send those credentials. Before we send the credentials, let's fix the not secure connection. And that's on this particular node. So we just need to install the snap in order to be able to install the server. We just select the first line, we execute second line, executed. Third line. Perfect. And then we'll just execute server. So the first time it will ask you for email. So specify your email. I will put my personal one here. So terms of service, we say yes. Would like to offer certificates successfully issued. Internet Foundation, well, I will say yes. I don't care about that. But if you don't want to, you can change that too. So now we'll go to my configuration and we'll detect that we have something specific for Nodes API. You want to create a certificate for this? We need to select it or leave blank to select all. I will leave it blank because it's just one, right? So we click enter I'm going to start doing the certificate issue for my Nodes API. We wait for a couple of minutes. And that's it. The cool thing about Servbot is that now if I just do refresh here, it should be secure. So now we have a secure API deployed to the server. How we test it? Well, that's why we have Insomnia. So we have Insomnia running right here. As you can see, we have the Insomnia running in our local, pointing to localhost. We need to point this to the server. One really cool thing to do this is to handle different environment. That way you should not be changing here or making like a copy. This is Node example, or this is, let's actually rename this. And let's call it Nodes API. Right? So I will create a new environment. So I will create some environment, call it, this environment should be production. And let's create another one, call it development. So in development, I will use my Nodes API URL will be http / localhost for 3000. And let me copy all that and put it in production. And in production, my server is actually https nodes-api.rodolfo.roman.nyc without edit port. So having something like this and saving it, then makes production to be, I don't know, red, like be careful. And development, let's change development to be, I don't know, green. There you go. So now we have a production and development environment. We have a like some kind of key. Let's actually expand a little bit. So this is pretty cool because it's just a simple JSON object. So we can actually use Nodes API, and let's create another object here. And let's call this one URL. And let's put the URL there, right there. Let's make it a little bit different. And let's create username. In test, this username is actually hello or whatever you put there. And let's create the password. As whatever you put as your API password. So we don't see any issue. So we can actually copy this and put it in production. And the difference will be that in production the URL changed. And if you change the username and password, I will do it later. But you should put your new username and password in your env file. So here's going to be nodes-api-rodolfo-roman.nyc. Right, and we close this. So now we can actually use development, and instead of having this here, I will put nodes. I will type actually nodes dot, there you go, nodes API URL. I don't know why it's with that underscore in the beginning, but we pretty much perfect. And we can use the same here. So we do underscore dot nodes API URL. underscore nodes, oops, underscore dot, there you go. And what we're seeing here, it just changes that to that variable that we have in the env file. And I will show you the benefit that in a minute. So in development, the call is going to localhost. In production, the call will go to Nodes API. Do you see this? So we can actually change by default that on the fly, and it's pretty neat. If we do a nodes, there you go. We can actually select that, and it takes a time to pop up. But as you see it like this, that means it's actually getting it. So we are able to pass this variable here. So if we do a development, a call, we have an error. Oh, the server is down. So let me get out from my server. Let me start my local server, npm run dev. So now in development, I have 2 nodes. On production, I don't have any nodes, and the call is made the way that it's supposed to. So now we're able to go to here, and let's create a node. Hello there. And let's put that comment, node on the server. Let's go to the queries. Let's do username. It will be username, this particular one. Password. There you go. If we send that to production, now we have our hello there in production. We go to the nodes. In my production environment, we have 1 node, and in our development environment, we have 2 nodes. So with that, we were able to test, deploy, and have our API server up and running the way that it's supposed to. So I know it was a little bit complicated, especially with the part that the npm ROM didn't work the way that it's supposed to. But well, it's part of the issue sometimes, right? The cool thing is we can actually troubleshoot. Through troubleshooting, we can actually verify what is the issue. So what I want to do, because I really want to show you that. So this is how to create the instruction, how to create a new Node.js application locally, right? Let me actually edit it. And what I will doing is we need to install this one as development environment, as a dependency. So I will go through here, npm install all these Bubble runtime and Bubble plugin transform runtime. Right, that one should be there. What else do we need to do? We find out that our package JSON here, we have an issue. This should be a dot, right? And one last thing is we need to add the plugins to the Bubble RC. So let me look for my Bubble RC configuration. There you go. So after preset, I do a comma, enter, and the plugins on the bottom. And let's make this to look aligned, a little more presentable, right? Yeah, something like this. So cool. And I will update the content of the files on the bottom to reflect that. My package JSON. I have my code open somewhere. No, I don't have it open. So let me just close this. Let me just do a code here. Oh yeah. Let me go and select my package JSON. Copy everything. And let me paste it right here in my package JSON. We have here the fixed start. We have now the fixed transform runtime listed. And we have the Babel RC updated. And the instructions too. Perfect. So let me update this. And now it's reflecting everything that I need to have. So, oh, that's it. In the next video, not sure it's going to be this week or the next week. On the next video, the idea will be to actually implement a Vue.js application that consumes our API. So let's see how it goes. Meanwhile, please remember if you have any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding, everybody.